It was, among other things, the rediscovery of classical texts by Aristotle and Cicero that started a renewed interest in philosophy, art, and the natural and social sciences. Starting in 14th century Florence, the Renaissance quickly spread out to the rest of Europe, paving the way for the early modern time. This was to a large degree thanks to the new printing possibilities that Gutenberg's invention made possible. Also, the role of Eastern scholars should not be overlooked. In 265, the Roman Empire had been split in a Western and Eastern half. When the Western Roman Empire fell in the 5th century, its traditions and sciences lived on in the Eastern Roman Empire of Byzantium. In the dark ages of Western Europe, Byzantine scholars still kept extensive libraries of classical literature and continued studying the science of rhetorica, although its importance had declined since advancement in the empire was much less dependent on public speaking and more on connections and status. But why is this relevant for the Renaissance and subsequent early modern times? Well, in the 15th century, Byzantine power was crushed by the Ottoman Empire. The fall of its capital, Constantinople, in 1453 led to a huge exodus of scholars and artists from the empire into Western Europe, feeding the growing intellectual renaissance with their work, thoughts, and books. At the same time, there was in many countries a shift of power. Religiously, there was turmoil in Europe because of new ideas that led to the Reformation and rise of several new religions. Most successful was, of course, the Protestant Church. The Roman Catholic Church lost its religious monopoly and now had to compete for the faith of the European people. Closely linked to this was a more worldly power struggle. Democratic ideas from antiquity again gained wide interest. The introduction of effective weapons, like the crossbow, the longbow, and the first firearms, gave the relatively untrained citizenry more military power to enforce their claims for more political power. That any peasant could now kill a knight with a well-placed crossbow bolt was a lesson that wasn't learned quickly by the ruler elite. But after several successful uprisings in Europe and military coups, the idea that it was practical to win the favor of the masses grudgingly became more accepted among the continent's religious and worldly rulers. It's not surprising that next to scientific thought, arts and literature, also the printing industry boomed, as this graph clearly shows. Gutenberg's innovation can be dated in the 1430s, and at the end of the 15th century the printing industry had already spread out through Europe and produced more than 20 million copies. A century later, this number increased to 200 million. Another century later, 1 billion books were produced. We'll take a closer look at the printing revolution and its importance for thought on communication in the next section of our MOOC.